Howdy folks, welcome to another episode of the Colorado Woodrat channel. This is episode 5 in the truck camper conversion series. In this episode, I get to install that roof that I spent so much time making. Here's where we get to see if building this on the floor and then lifting it up on top was a good idea. I'm looking forward to being able to increase the overall standable capacity within there. I've gotten somewhat creative with being able to lift this nearly 300-pound piece of metal up on top of that 9-foot truck. But that creative solution I've come up with isn't going to help me out if I don't have friends to help me implement it. So I've got some pretty clutch buddies coming over to help me lift it up there. Big thanks to my boys that are coming over to help. Now before I can get to installing that roof, there's a few more things that I need to take care of. For instance, I have to rip off the existing roof. I've been looking at this thing for a while now, trying to figure out how best to get it down. And I think I can get it out in chunks. It does slide, and those sliding components are broken up into pieces. So maybe that'll make it a little bit easier for me to get out of there. They're still really heavy. I think I'm just gonna end up having to resort to pushing them off the end and letting them land where they do. Along with removing those sliding portions, I am going to need to rip out a bit of the metal on the sides just to accommodate this wider new roof. I've been tossing this around in my head for a couple weeks now, trying to figure out the best way to do this. And what I've come up with is to put the roof up, tack weld it in place, and that will be able to provide a little additional structural support. Then I can come back in with a cutoff wheel and remove the rest of that. If I did it the other way, where I ripped that side material out before installing that roof, I'm worried that I might not be able to brace that structure. Right now, I think that the sliding portion is providing some stability to the shape of that roof. It'll probably be a pretty big pain to go back and remove all of that additional material once I've got that roof in place, but I can't think of a better way to do this. Maybe one of you folks out there will leave a comment and let me know how I could have made this whole task easier. And in order to prep the surface for the welding, I've already gone up and marked out where I need to remove the grip tape and the paint that's already up there to get a good weld surface. Once I get the roof in place, I'm planning on welding in more square tube to further reinforce the internal framing. So I've obviously been spending a lot of time looking at this roof, and one thing I've noticed is there are a few areas that are uneven. The kind of wave where the sheet metal that makes up the outside box has been damaged in the past. So I'll have to see if that actually lines up with the roof once I put it on. And then if it doesn't, I'll have to figure out some way to bang that into place or use the floor jack to lift that material up so it meets that roof. A lot of work coming up in this episode. I hope you enjoy the show. Took a brief look in the truck. I have no idea how I'm gonna get that roof down. Hopefully I can get it off in manageable sections. I hope this is one of those instances that I'm overthinking it, and it'll end up being easier than it is in my head right now, but we'll see. All right, I'm going to attempt to build a frame that is going to help us get that roof up on top. I've done some calculations and I think it's about 270 pounds. That's just based on figures of what I could find online. The frame I'm gonna make is out of 2x4s that are 16 feet long and 8 feet long. We'll see how this goes. I don't know if I'm going to get questions about this, but just to put all of you at ease as to the durability and strength of this guy, I'm so excited. Big thanks to all the dudes that came over and gave me a hand. Literally could not have gotten it up here without y'all's help, so props. I'm so happy. This is a big milestone. I still have a lot to do. I need to weld the rest of it on, but just having this thing up here is, it's very gratifying. I figured I'd take a sec to show you guys what I came up with. So that roof has taken quite a bit of abuse over the years. So what I did is I took an old floor jack that I just happen to have laying around, and I have gone ahead and set that under there with some scrap lumber, and you can see that it lines up over there, but as you get down here, there's a gap just because the metal is bent. So what I'm doing is putting a jack under there, cranking that up a little bit, and getting it to match. it works pretty well. Part of the roof that was securing the sliding portion to the main body was screwed on through these holes here. So I need to plug weld those. And to do that, I'm using this piece of aluminum, which is still a little too hot for me to touch. But it was in the recycling bin at work. I'm just sitting it up against those holes and plug welding from the top. Well, that certainly was a lot of work. Big thanks to all the gentlemen that came over and helped me out. Could not have done it without you guys. Removing those sliding portions of the old roof turned out to be a little bit easier than I had thought, but that was only because they had some snapped welds. I'm really glad I decided to remove that thing and replace the roof. If I had gone with that, I would have had to contend with these snapped welds, and I still don't think I would have ever been able to weather seal it to my specifications. Whereas those sliding sections were easy to remove, cutting out the interior roof, that was a much harder task. Got it done, but man did it offer a lot of trouble. You might have noticed that I decided halfway through to rip out that left side partition that was in there. I figured it would open up the space a little bit more, and once I got to tearing things out, I realized that it wasn't offering any structural support. I decided to leave the right side in because I'm planning on putting in a fridge and a cabinet right there, so that one can stay. I didn't quite get as far as I had hoped. I really wanted to get the interior metal framing welded in, but time didn't allow for it. I think I had enough to be getting on with. After I get that metal framing in, the interior metal work should be completely finished. You'll have to tune into the next episode to check out the last bit of metal work that's going to go into the inside here. Thanks again for watching, folks. We'll see you on the next one.